I am about to make the argument that Logan Paul has an ongoing history of animal cruelty due to neglect, which is a huge claim to make, but I make it because of no less than 5 instances of animals experiencing preventable deaths or close to it due to Logan Paul's neglect, indifference, or sheer incompetence. And that's just scratching the surface. It is my opinion that he does not view animals as sentient beings who, when pets, have no choice but to rely on their owners for safety and care, but rather, he views them as props who are meant to help further his career and fund his lavish lifestyle. And I feel like that argument is made even stronger when you remember that almost all of these incidents have involved an animal that Logan Paul has profited from or used to further his career in some way. And if that wasn't bad enough, Logan Paul has come out and said that public backlash to the most recent example of this is due to a Christian conspiracy against him rather than being possibly justified. Which sounds crazy, but he's been defaulting to crying conspiracy in response to controversy for no less than 5 years. Let's start with the most recent incident involving Pearl. An animal sanctuary by the name of the Gentle Barn made a TikTok where they showed an abandoned pig, Pearl, that they had recently rescued. When finding Pearl, she had tattered ears and a uterus infection that could have been fatal if left untreated. Not to mention, Pearl was with a pig who had already passed. The Gentle Barn then said they had reason to believe that Pearl belonged to an influencer who bought them as a piglet for content. In fact, they say that this is a common practice, where influencers buy so-called teacup pigs when they're cute, get likes from them, but abandon or discard them once they get too big to be easily cared for. Because either they don't do enough research on how much the pigs grow, or they just don't care as long as they profit. And speculation began to spread that the pig belonged to Logan himself. See, Logan Paul once had a pig named Pearl who he specifically said he didn't expect to get big. And Logan eventually confirmed that, yes, this was the same pig that he formerly owned and frequently featured in his content. In fact, he had given Pearl to a ranch he had vetted, only for that ranch to close and rehome the pig to the farmer that abandoned her. So as Logan implies, that means his hands are clean when it comes to Pearl, right? He's done nothing wrong. No, I don't accept that for a moment. Logan said he rehomed Pearl because he was unable to take her to Puerto Rico, where he currently lives. Now, rehoming a pet can be devastating as you're losing part of your family, so I'm sure Logan had a really good reason to move to Puerto Rico, right? Yeah, he moved to Puerto Rico because he wanted to pay less in taxes.
I feel like people are wondering why Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
Like how random.
Yeah.
Taxes. It's one vertical. It's a big one. It's getting crazy here in California, you know, paying taxes. Kind of looked at Texas a little bit, you know, like Rogan. Miami and Texas both have no state tax.
So an incredibly wealthy content creator left behind this pet that he apparently loved so that he could go from having enough money to be set up for life in luxury to the same exact thing, only now the number in his bank account is slightly higher. Yeah, I'm calling that indifference. You don't abandon an animal you love, especially one with the intelligence of a pig, for something as shallow as that. But even more, the fact that he adopted Pearl without any idea of how her needs would change over time is disgusting. Personal anecdote. A year and a half after adopting my cat Obi, he suffered from a urinary block despite his diet being primarily wet food. I was able to correctly identify that within minutes of his behavior changing and knew to rush him to an emergency animal hospital out of state immediately. Because a urinary block can kill a cat within 24 hours, so I knew it couldn't wait until morning. Now, I would never claim to be a perfect pet owner because I'm not one, but I was able to correctly identify my cat's health condition because of how much of a responsibility I understand pets to be, while Logan Paul adopted a pig with a lifespan of up to 20 years and didn't even know that pigs get big. Is it Logan's fault that Pearl was abandoned? Maybe not. Is the indifference he clearly had to Pearl once she became more work than she was worth in likes absolutely disgusting? Unquestionably. And I'll go over this more later, but Logan's initially sincere statement about wanting to help Pearl recover from her injuries was followed by him implying that people were only mad at him for this because of some Christian conspiracy against him, rather than the fact that he just sucks, in language that mirrored Andrew Tate's after he was arrested for human trafficking. Yeah, don't worry, I'll get to that. Now, Logan also had a pet parrot named Maverick, who is in fact the mascot of his brand and merchandise. 2 for 2 on profiting off of them if you're keeping track. Now, Maverick died in 2019 because one of Logan's dogs ate Maverick. And I don't mean a small chihuahua, I mean a dog that's this big.
The pet that I've had for the longest time in my life, 7 years, at Maverick Parrot on Instagram, 1.3 million followers, 2.3 on the brand account. Dead?
Yeah, you heard that right. Within moments of finding out the horrific details of Maverick's passing, Logan started promoting and bragging about Maverick's Instagram and his merch brand. Because when you find out that a beloved pet has passed away, isn't your first thought how you could profit off of it? Now, the dog did nothing wrong. they acted like a dog. There's a reason why I wouldn't have a fishbowl out in a household with 3 cats. And look, when a pet experiences accidental death, it doesn't always mean neglect. Dogs get into chocolate, cats slip out the door. It happens. But I think it's more than fair to question why this bird was in close proximity, presumably out of their cage, to a husky and Tibetan mastiff, 2 breeds that could kill a bird in 1 bite. Especially when those were 2 dogs he had just adopted that year, so I don't know where he got that confidence from. And I make that assumption thanks to this footage from 1 year later of Logan letting his bird fly around in front of 2 big dogs, which you think he might figure out eventually is not a good idea. And you want to hear something really sad? The dog in that story, Ginger, but you know what? I'll just play some clips from his video titled Visiting the Dog That Killed Maverick.
So I bought a red Tibetan Mastiff, a dog named Ginger. She is a bad dog. We sent her away to bad dog camp and I haven't seen her in 4 months. Is she getting any better or is she just still a bad dog?
She's not gonna be good in the structure that you have at home, that's all. She's not a bad dog.
Bye, baby. I love you.
In case you missed that, Ginger was scared of him, hopefully because she didn't recognize him. Sadly, that's the better of 2 scenarios there. And the trainer corrects him and says to his face that she is not able to do well in the environment he has her in, yet he still keeps saying, oh, she's a bad dog. Like the literal animal expert is saying to his face that it's his fault, and he still doesn't get it. But fine, it was an accident, a mistake. It shouldn't define Logan. At least, if that was the only instance of one of his pets experiencing a preventable death. Because there was another one, technically 2, just in 2019 alone. See, Logan also had a Pomeranian by the name of Kong, whom he often featured in his content and had an Instagram for. 3 for 3 on profit, but within about 2 years of adopting Kong in 2019, he was tragically killed by 2 coyotes in Logan's front yard while left unattended. Now, Logan wasn't home. It was actually his roommates who had let Kong out, but I can't find any instance of Logan saying that this was different than Kong's normal routine. In fact, when retelling the story, Logan said this:
Kong's ran away before, guys. If you're like OG Logang, you know Kong has ran out the gate like 3 times before we got a fence to stop him.
Which to me implies that that was the norm. Also, fun fact, Logan was at dinner with a friend while this was going on and couldn't be bothered to leave until left with no other choice. In fact, listen to how he talks about that.
They've killed dogs in our neighborhood before and they're right up against the gate, and so I'm starting to freak out. I am the one in the group with the level head, but I'm at dinner with my friend and I'm looking around and I start to get a little antsy. Somehow I'm at this fucking crowded restaurant in Beverly Hills and I'm on the security cam footage. They're sending me videos of them looking for Kong. I started to worry a little more. Mind you, I'm at dinner, and then I get the call from Andre and Mike. They're like, yo, you gotta come home.
So I think it's fair to say that Logan shouldn't have been leaving his small dog unattended in an area where coyotes live, or birds of prey, which had just killed one of his koi fish around the same time. I mean, just as a celebrity, you would think he'd be a little bit more cautious about his dog possibly being kidnapped, if nothing else. And Logan responded by saying it was an accident, a mistake, blah, 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 because just like everything else he does, it wasn't his fault. Look, I've had 3 cats since 2020, and I had 5 dogs throughout my childhood, and of those 8 animals across 20 years, not one of them experienced an accidental death. Yet Logan had 2, 3 if we count the koi fish, in 2019 alone, and abandoned another animal within a couple of years. And this video is still not over yet. Remember those coyotes I mentioned? Well, Logan Paul was understandably angry at them, so he decided to hunt them down. But I'll let him tell the story.
My dog got eaten by a coyote. Kong. These things are nimble. Came into my yard. Now you're trespassing. You've broken a law in my eyes.
Yeah.
They decapitated my dog. So now I started paying attention to their behavior on my Nest cameras. And I made a vow that I was gonna hunt down and kill these fucking coyotes.
Yeah.
It took me 2 years. Man, I probably chased coyotes around the neighborhood like 5 times.
The
Like,
bow was sitting at the front door.
so dog, I pulled the trigger. And by the way, this was a miracle shot. I walk to the end of my street about 40 yards and there's the coyote. Wow. Couldn't have lived for more than 5 seconds after I shot it. It was a big moment for me.
So let's take the story at face value and review. He apparently obsessed over hunting down these animals for 2 years, fired a weapon he wasn't properly trained with in a residential neighborhood while admitting his vision was severely compromised and he wasn't even sure what he was shooting at.
And you can't see shit through a crossbow scope at this hour. And I'm colorblind. I can't see anything in the dark. So I'm like tracking what I think is the coyote. He gets across from me. Pull the trigger.
Also, he changes mid-story from having a compound bow to a crossbow, but whatever.
It was a compound bow. I don't know if you ever pulled back a compound bow. So, dog, I pulled the trigger. You have to use a crossbow. Really? Dude, I trained crossbow.
He shot a coyote after convincing himself it's the same one that attacked Kong, despite having no way of knowing that, rehearsed this story so that he could tell it like an action movie, and intended on saving this in his back pocket for Joe Rogan.
I have like 5 good stories for Rogan.
Damn.
Because when
let
I
us
go
get
on,
one of that, bro. Let's get
you wanna
one of those stories.
I'll give you one.
Okay.
I'll give you the dog one.
Bro, this story's gangster.
4 for 4 on profit, by the way. In fact, he made this comment about Kong.
It was survival of who was the most fit at the time, and my dog was not prepared for a battle of that proportion, and that coyote was not prepared for my patience.
Yeah, he used the excruciating death of his 5-pound dog to hype himself up as a badass. Oh, and the story ends with him having the coyote stuffed and keeping it as a trophy.
I wanted to get it taxidermied licking its own ass.
Now, maybe I can understand him hunting down a coyote that was a threat to his community, but who keeps the animal that killed their dog? Who wants a constant reminder of what should be one of the worst days of their life? That's mental. You also had the time that Logan was, or possibly still is, under investigation for driving vehicles on a Puerto Rican beach during the sea turtle mating season, which is widely illegal because it could lead to the destruction of countless sea turtle eggs. Now, Logan claims it was a private beach and thus legal, though legality means nothing if he still destroyed hundreds of sea turtle eggs. But even if it's true that no sea turtles were harmed, Logan Paul responded to the backlash by... Any guesses? Yeah, saying him and Jake did nothing wrong and are victims of the media and ignorant, angry losers having it out for them. Mind you, much of this outrage came from Puerto Rican locals who felt it was disrespectful for these brothers to treat their island like a personal resort with no mindfulness towards the local environment. So it's really interesting that even if Logan did nothing wrong, his response to concern about the well-being of animals is to call those that are concerned ignorant, angry losers who just have it out for him. In other words, there's no way they're being sincere. They just care about sinking Logan's career, almost like it doesn't occur to Logan that, yes, most people actually do care about the lives of animals. But are you noticing that pattern of Logan's? That every time there's public backlash against him, it's because of some conspiracy against him. Because there's no valid reason to be angry at him. In his mind, he is always the victim of someone else or just bad luck.
Yo, you all know this. I have the worst luck with some of my best pets.
Is she getting any better, or is she just still a bad dog?
She's not gonna be good in the structure that you have her at home. That's all. She's not a bad dog.
You're gonna be a good dog soon. I can't wait to see what else goes wrong with this dog. Bad things happen at one time. I don't know what it is, if it's like a universal, like, you to me or what it is, but like coyotes are so slick. I can't help but feel like this was premeditated. Like this is the most cunning abduction plan I've seen in my days. He didn't stand a fucking chance, and I hate how naive he is and so mindless. Like he had no idea what was going on. Like I'm not the only one in this neighborhood who's lost a dog. Why me? Actually, Maverick was murdered. Life has been a lately to me.
But like social media loves to do what they want, and the armchair quarterbacks trying to make assumptions about who I am and how I treat animals.
Bro, why does this keep happening?
And this pattern actually goes way beyond just his history with animals. See, the last couple of months have seen a ton of controversy for Logan undoing his years-long comeback campaign. That all started with Logan's inappropriate comments on his friend's religious views.
But you love your intelligence more than I love my Jesus.
No, but that's what makes me intelligent is I'm not falling for the myth.
Genuinely, like, I know people that hate me, that treat me better about my faith than you, and you're my best friend. Stuff. But when it comes to religion, you have to tiptoe.
No, I don't. Because I'll be honest with you, bro. Jesus Christ.
Oh God, bro.
Why we have to perpetuate a belief that is silly.
You told me I need a therapist because I believe in Jesus.
No,
that one hurt me.
No, I didn't. I said you need a therapist because Jesus isn't quite doing it for you,
no, you
which
didn't.
is true.
No, you didn't. I don't want to stand down. No, you didn't.
It is common knowledge that you don't interpret reality like reality happens.
Logan was then the subject of an amazing CoffeeZilla expose series that exposed Logan for being behind a massive crypto scam. And then this horrible month ended with the details of Pearl's rescue being made public. But why do I bring up his other recent controversies? Well, Logan has come out and said that he was a victim of the Matrix, and that's why his comeback is gone. And when someone tweeted at Logan that there was a correlation between Logan's trouble and his insulting Christianity, Logan agreed that it wasn't a coincidence, which I can't read as anything other than him implying that that there's some grand Christian conspiracy against him in the shadows, because we all know how subtly Christians in power tend to express their outrage. Notice I just made fun of someone's character without ridiculing them for disagreeing with me. But yeah, Logan Paul has a history of making big grand gestures of sincerity when eyes are on him, only to reveal that it was nothing more than an act the moment pressure subsides. In fact, Logan has been doing this for 5 years.
From the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. I appreciate that.
He says, quote, "The Matrix is real. Pray you never become its target."
CoffeeZilla, I now know your motives with this. Clout and money, good for you, but also you're slimy as and I'll see you in court.
CoffeeZilla is not a criminal. I called him, I apologized. I am personally committing 1,000 ETH to this, which is about $1.3 million.
Trying to make assumptions about who I am and how I treat animals. I've grown up with animals my whole life.
This is an incredibly heartbreaking situation. I had Pearl for 2 years.
Logan Paul is in some hot water after he posted a video allegedly showing the body of a person who recently committed suicide.
You showed a dead body and you got to keep your YouTube account. That's insane. You're insanely lucky.
I am a good guy who made a bad decision. I am a good guy who made a bad decision. I am a good guy who made a bad decision.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. For my fans who are defending my actions, please don't. They do not deserve to be defended.
So I'm pledging to donate $1 million to various suicide prevention organizations. And although this is a tough conversation, it's important because things can and will get better.
I am a good guy who made a bad decision. I am a good guy who made a bad decision. I am a good guy who made a bad decision. I am a good guy who made a bad decision.
What other YouTuber you know can take a 3-week break and still gain 1 million subscribers? Yo, one thing I did learn out of all of this, no matter how much hate or comments from random strangers who I have never even seen or heard of in my life, all this, it's noise to me. Are you really starting your first vlog back with a merch vlog? Okay. Yes, I am, because as you guys know, YouTube cut my AdSense in half. Thanks, YouTube, love ya. So I am gonna need you guys to buy all my merch, Maverick merch, of course, so I don't lose my house. The haters are stronger than ever, guys. Logang, they're tough. There's a petition to get me removed from YouTube. 533,029 have signed. I'm signing it because, Logan Paul, right? So internet, please, yo, use me, bro. Crucify me, vilify me.
I am a good guy who made a bad decision.
Yeah, Logan Paul is incapable of change. He never grew or learned, he just fooled all of us. Because Logan Paul puts being a salesman, a showman, and a scam artist over being a person who wants to do the right thing. Because yeah, mistakes happen. People get unlucky, people get taken advantage of, and maybe sometimes that really is the case for Logan too. But sometimes we also mess up and act selfishly. But the fact that Logan Paul always finds someone else to pin the blame on leads me to believe that Logan's choices do not come from inexperience or incompetence, but sheer indifference to anyone or anything that doesn't benefit Logan Paul. So what do I expect this video to accomplish? Tell you the truth, nothing. Logan Paul's brand has never been about him being a good person, and that makes him untouchable. So all I'm really doing is throwing a pebble at Goliath. But after reading up on Logan Paul, and especially after reading up his history with animals, I knew it was a pebble that I needed to throw. And unfortunately, this video is gonna come out like a week after its relevancy dies down again, but knowing Logan Paul, there's at least an 80% chance that he does something else that's so mind-numbingly stupid or just plain evil that this video is gonna gain some extra traction anyway. So thanks, Logan. Hope life treats you as well as you did all of your pets.
The pet that I've had for the longest time in my life, 7 years, at Maverick Parrot on Instagram, 1.3 million followers, 2.3 on the brand account. Dead?
Small golden dog head found in my yard. They decapitated my dog.
I don't want to be one of those people that just like replaces a dog with another dog, but fuck, alright, I guess I am. I can't wait to see what else goes wrong with this dog. You guys know about the tragedy that was Maverick the Parrot, how my fucking evil Tibetan Mastiff Ginger the Giant ate him.
Yo, you all know this. I have the worst luck with some of my best pets.
Don't let it bite Kong for crying out loud.
Buddy, it's our big day. And it needed a home, so I figured who better to adopt him than the 0-1 YouTubing boxer. We sent her away to bad dog camp, and I haven't seen her in 4 months.
I wish I could have gone back in time and told the past version of myself to not get a pig.
I stood up like 3 times, and I thought nothing of it. Just, oh, you need to come down here. Your dog's not breathing. He's laying upside down. He's foaming at the mouth.
Oh my God! No! Get him, bro. He's still breathing. He's still breathing.
No, I feel like putting him on land is not...
What do I do? CPR?
No, dude, I think...
No.
Putting him on land is worse. Put him back in the water.
Okay. I promise I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. You're okay, girl.
What was that?
Can you speak up? Oh, wow, whoa. I don't think he's trying to kiss him. I'm trying to rip his head off.
So my girlfriend Josie loves horses. She's wanted a horse for the longest time. We got a horse, 2 horses. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm scared of them. It's super cool, super exciting. Unfortunately, fucking found out Josie's allergic to horses.
It's actually kind of sad.
Bye.